Have you ever hugged a woman and felt a shift in the air, like suddenly she's closer, warmer, almost hungrier for your attention, but you had no idea why? That moment, it's not magic, it's psychology, and most men are blind to it. Most men hug her and think, well, I just showed affection. But what if I told you that the way you hug her could awaken desire, trust, and deep connection all at once, or completely kill the spark before it even starts? I want you to really imagine this. You pull her in, and in that second, her body responds, not just emotionally, but physically. Her heartbeat might speed up. Her hands linger a second longer. Her subtle glances tell stories she hasn't spoken aloud. That is the power of a hug done with the right intention. And I promise, most men are doing it wrong. Hugging is not about comfort, it's about communication. Silent, magnetic communication that only the right signals can convey. The first thing to understand is presence. Most men approach a hug like they're handing over a high five, half-hearted, distracted, thinking about what's next. But presence changes everything. Presence says, I am here. You are the only thing I see right now. Your energy, your body language, the tiny micro-expressions on your face. They speak louder than words, and women pick up on these cues instantly. Think of the last time a hug made your chest tighten, your stomach flutter. That's not just attraction. That's chemistry, responding to confidence wrapped in emotional intelligence. You don't need grand gestures. You need alignment between your intentions, your energy, and her perception. A hug that sparks desire is about timing, touch, and subtle control. It's the unspoken equation that can make her want more without saying a word. And here's the truth most men will never admit. Hugs can either build trust and attraction or erase it instantly. One wrong hand placement, one hesitant step back, and the magic disappears. You might think a soft squeeze is enough, but softness without intent is invisible. Intent without awareness is intrusive. The men who master this understand the dance between holding her securely and giving her a sense of freedom. That tension, that push and pull, creates desire. Now, before we dive into the mechanics, let me challenge you. Are you fully aware of how your energy communicates when you touch her? Not just your arms, not just your body, your energy, your mindset. Every hug carries a story, and every story triggers an emotion. Most men hug without thinking, but women feel everything. A hug can be the spark that ignites attraction, or it can signal weakness and uncertainty. Here's where most men fail. They focus on technique over psychology. They memorize tips and tricks and ignore the core principle: connection. Women don't respond to your technique. They respond to your emotional signal. A hug is not a physical act. It's a psychological handshake between your confidence and her curiosity. Done right, it's magnetic. Done wrong, it's forgettable. And worse, it's invisible. So here's the first secret I want you to internalize. Your hug sets the stage for everything. The energy you bring, the intent you radiate, the awareness you carry, it's all felt within seconds. And once she feels that, she will lean in without thinking, without realizing, and maybe even without words. That's the silent language most men never learn. Think about it. If a simple hug can convey power, desire, and emotional connection simultaneously, what does that tell you about your current approach? Most men are missing this by miles. And by the end of this video, if you truly absorb what I'm about to teach, you'll understand the exact actions that make a woman crave more than just a hug. You'll make her remember it, think about it later, and feel an emotional pull that keeps her coming back for more. Now, keep this in mind as we move forward. Every hug is an opportunity. An opportunity to communicate dominance with care, desire with respect, and intimacy without pressure. And if you master this, you won't just hug a woman. You'll leave an imprint on her emotions that lasts long after you let go. Before I move on, I want you to reflect. Imagine your last hug. Did it leave her feeling closer to you? Or did it feel forgettable, like every other hug she's received? That difference, the subtle shift between ordinary and unforgettable, is what you're about to learn. And the first step starts with understanding why she reacts the way she does when you hold her. Because the more you understand her psychology, the more powerfully you can influence her desire without saying a word.
Now, let's get to the heart of it, The 4 things you must always do when you hug a woman if you want her to feel drawn to you, to feel that magnetic pull, that spark that keeps her thinking about you long after you've let go. Most men will read this and think, it's just a hug. But this is where attraction is built, quietly and powerfully. The first thing is alignment. Alignment between your body and your intention. Too many men hug mechanically, their arms wrapping around her without thought, their mind somewhere else. But alignment is more than just standing straight. It's about your presence and posture. Your chest slightly forward, your shoulders relaxed, your spine tall, but not stiff. Your head tilting slightly as if you're saying silently, I'm here, and I'm focused only on you. When you align your body with your emotional intent, she feels it immediately. Your energy says, I see you, I value you. And women can feel that in a fraction of a second. The second thing is controlled touch. This is where most men fail miserably. They either squeeze too hard, making her uncomfortable, or too soft, making the hug forgettable. The secret is balance. Firm enough to show security, gentle enough to show care. Let your hands rest naturally, without fidgeting. Feel the line of her back, the natural curve of her waist if she leans into you, but don't overthink it. A touch that communicates confidence without force is irresistible. Subtle shifts in your grip, the small press of your hands, create micro signals that trigger attraction subconsciously. Third is temporal awareness. Timing changes everything. A hug that's too short feels dismissive. Too long, it risks awkwardness. The key is to sense her response in real time. Her body language will tell you whether she's leaning in, pressing back, or subtly trying to break away. Your awareness and adjustment, not overthinking, just reading her energy, make the hug feel like a dance. You control the moment, but you do it with empathy, letting her feel safe, yet intrigued. That tension between security and curiosity is exactly what creates desire. And the fourth thing, which most men completely ignore, is eye and micro-expression engagement. You might think eyes don't matter during a hug, but they do. Just before or as you pull her close, let your eyes meet hers, even briefly. That subtle lock creates intimacy instantly. Then soften your expression. No smirk, no forced smile. A calm, confident look paired with a genuine, relaxed body releases subconscious chemicals that increase attraction. Women are wired to notice these micro cues. They don't just see them, they feel them, and that feeling lingers. Now, if you combine these 4 elements, alignment, controlled touch, temporal awareness, and micro-expression engagement, you create what I call a magnetic hug. A hug that isn't just physical contact, but a psychological imprint. She doesn't just feel your arms, she feels your energy, your intention, your emotional availability, and your dominance all at once. That is the invisible cocktail that makes her want more without you having to say a single word. Here's the subtle secret most men will never understand. It's not about technique alone. You can mimic posture, practice grips, or memorize timing all you want, but if your energy doesn't match your intent, it fails. Women feel authenticity instantly. Your presence has to speak louder than your hands. That's why most hugs feel like a formality instead of a spark. When you hug with awareness, she remembers it. She thinks about it hours later. She imagines it again. That's attraction being subtly cemented. And let me tell you the dangerous side of getting this wrong. A sloppy, half-hearted hug signals insecurity, weakness, or boredom. Suddenly your presence isn't magnetic. It's neutral. Or worse, forgettable. She doesn't feel your pull. She doesn't crave you. And in some cases, she's even turned off, unconsciously sensing a lack of confidence. Attraction isn't just about charm or looks. It's about signaling emotional control through small, almost invisible gestures. And the hug is prime real estate for this. So think about it. Every time you hug her, you have an opportunity to influence her subconscious. Every alignment, every touch, every micro-expression is a word in the story your body is telling. And if you do it with precision, intention, and awareness, that story becomes compelling, magnetic, and unforgettable. Right now, I want you to pause and imagine your last hug. Did you dominate the energy without being overbearing? Did your touch feel intentional? Did your body and mind communicate in sync? Most men would answer no. That's why the difference between an ordinary hug and a desire-inducing hug is so huge, and yet so easy to fix once you understand the psychology behind it. Here's something most men will never admit. They think desire is built through words, gifts, or time spent. But attraction is mostly unconscious. Women feel before they think, and your hug is the silent communicator of your confidence, your dominance, and your emotional availability. This is where subtle psychology becomes your secret weapon. The first trigger is breath synchronization. It sounds strange, but it's real. When you hug her, your body naturally exhales as hers inhales, or vice versa. Most men ignore this, hugging mechanically, unaware of the rhythm their body creates. But if you consciously slow your breathing, even subtly, you can influence hers. Women feel this without realizing it. It communicates calm, control, and emotional steadiness. That steady rhythm increases her comfort and, paradoxically, her desire. She senses security, and security is the invisible foundation of attraction. Second, there's pressure modulation. This is different from a firm or soft touch. It's the subtle play between tension and release. When you hug her, press slightly, then release briefly, almost imperceptibly. This micro movement is primal. It mirrors a dance of dominance and submission, control and freedom. It triggers subconscious cues that say, I am strong, but I am aware of you. Women respond to these micro adjustments emotionally before they even consciously register them. That tiny ebb and flow of pressure can make a hug unforgettable. Third is mirroring micro expressions. A woman's body language during a hug is like a roadmap to her emotions. Does she tilt her head slightly? Does she relax into your chest? Does her hand rest gently on your arm? Mirroring these tiny gestures, without making it obvious, creates unconscious rapport. It tells her, silently, I am in sync with you. Rapport is a psychological bridge between comfort and desire. When she feels you on her wavelength, even briefly, her brain interprets it as intimacy. That is when attraction intensifies without any words being spoken. Fourth, there's the subtle framing of your chest and shoulders. Most men think hugging is about arm placement, but your torso conveys dominance and protection. Slightly angling your shoulders, opening your chest, and leaning in just enough communicates power and availability at the same time. Women are wired to pick up on this. That tiny cue of a strong yet protective body posture releases subconscious chemicals in her brain that signal both security and sexual tension. She feels drawn, intrigued, almost involuntarily. Fifth, eye micro connection before release. This is the moment most men miss entirely. Even a fraction of a second where your eyes meet hers as you finish the hug can lock a memory in her mind. It doesn't have to be intense, just calm, confident, slightly warm. That small connection leaves an imprint. Women remember that feeling. Later, when she thinks of you, she recalls that moment, even if she doesn't consciously realize it, and feels a pull she can't explain. Now, let's talk about the danger zone, the subtle mistakes men make that ruin attraction in a single hug. Hesitation kills desire instantly. Overenthusiasm feels desperate. Too much lingering pressure makes her uncomfortable. Avoiding eye contact makes your presence fade. Too stiff a body communicates insecurity. Every error, however small, sabotages the unconscious signals you're trying to send. Remember, desire is built on perception, and perception is sculpted by these micro-triggers. Here's a powerful mental shift. Stop thinking of the hug as just physical contact. Think of it as an emotional trigger. Your hug is your message. Your presence is your story. Your micro-movements are your dialogue. Done right, it primes her mind for attraction before you even speak. Done wrong, it's just forgettable touch. Imagine this scenario. You hug her with intentional alignment, subtle pressure modulation, breath synchronization, mirroring micro-expressions, and a confident chest frame. She leans in slightly without thinking, her heart rate increases imperceptibly, her subconscious notes your control and presence. That is the kind of hug that leaves a lingering pull. That is the hug that makes her want more. And the best part? She won't even know why she's thinking about it. It's pure psychology, invisible, yet undeniable. By now, you should feel the weight of what most men are missing. Hugs are not casual. They are opportunities to create attraction, to deepen connection, and to leave an emotional imprint that lasts. Women remember how a man makes them feel, not what he says. And these subtle triggers, breath, pressure, mirroring, chest frame, and micro-eye contact, are your secret tools. When used intentionally, they elevate a simple hug into a desire-inducing experience. Take a moment now. Reflect on your past hugs. How many of them had these triggers? How many left her thinking about you hours later, replaying that subtle connection? The difference between ordinary and magnetic is in the details, and these details are invisible to most men, but not to women. That's why mastering them changes everything. Here's the part most men completely miss. Hugging doesn't exist in a vacuum. The moment you let her go, the story continues. The hug is just the opening act. What happens immediately after it can either cement desire or completely dissolve it. If you want a woman to feel drawn to you, to crave your presence, you have to understand the psychology of follow-up. The first layer is verbal reinforcement. Most men make the mistake of hugging and immediately moving on without a word, as if the hug were an obligation. But a few carefully chosen words can multiply the effect of that hug exponentially. It doesn't have to be corny or rehearsed. Something simple like, "I've missed you," or "You feel amazing right now," delivered calmly and confidently, reinforces the emotional trigger. These words, paired with the memory of your embrace, anchor her feelings, making her brain associate your presence with pleasure, safety, and subtle intrigue. Second, there's the power of scent. Women are wired to respond to pheromones and natural body cues. Your scent during a hug, after you've been subtly confident and relaxed, can trigger subconscious attraction that she doesn't even realize is happening. The trick is consistency. Wear a scent that complements your natural presence, but don't overdo it. Even a clean, natural smell signals health, vitality, and subtle masculinity. When combined with the other triggers we've covered, alignment, micro-pressure, eye connection, your scent becomes the invisible signature that makes her crave your proximity. Third is the art of gentle spacing. After the hug, most men make the mistake of stepping too far away or immediately distracting her with conversation or their phone. This breaks the emotional echo of the hug. Instead, step back slowly, maintain soft eye contact, and let a micro-pause linger. That fraction of a second allows her subconscious to process what just happened, to feel the aftershock of your energy. Women respond to these subtle pauses more than they realize. It's a psychological trick that increases tension and desire without a word being spoken. Fourth, there's post-hug body language. The way you angle your body, the slight lean, the calmness of your stance, the positioning of your hands after releasing her, these are all signals that continue the conversation your hug started. Relaxed confidence says, "I am here, I am strong, and you are safe," while subtle openness signals, "I am accessible, but not desperate." Women subconsciously register this immediately. It reinforces everything you conveyed during the hug and makes your presence addictive. Fifth is timed compliments. Not generic compliments, but ones tied to the hug itself. Say something like, "You're incredible to hold," or "Being close to you feels right." The key is to connect the compliment to the experience she just had, your embrace. This creates a mental loop in her mind. Hug, subtle verbal affirmation, emotional spike, anticipation. She'll remember that chain later, replaying it without realizing it, and it becomes a magnet that draws her closer to you. And here's the part most men will never understand. This follow-up is as important as the hug itself. You can have perfect alignment, pressure modulation, and breath synchronization, but if you break the afterglow with poor timing, rushed movements, or distracted behavior, all that attraction dissipates. Women's brains latch onto sequences of experiences: hug, energy, words, pause, presence. And if the sequence is broken, the emotional imprint weakens. Now let's talk about control and subtle escalation. After a hug, you have the choice to let the moment fade or intensify it. Simple gestures, a lingering hand on her back, a light brush of your fingers, or even maintaining a soft, confident gaze, send subconscious signals that heighten attraction. These micro-actions communicate desire, control, and intimacy simultaneously. Women feel it before they think about it. That's the invisible language of seduction, and most men never learn it. Think about it. If you master the hug and then layer in verbal cues, scent, pauses, body language, and subtle touch, you've created an experience, not just a moment. You've communicated care, dominance, attraction, and safety, all without needing to explain yourself. That is the kind of interaction that makes her think about you hours later, anticipate the next encounter, and feel drawn to you in ways she can't consciously articulate. So, pause for a second. Reflect. When you hug a woman, do you think about the moments immediately after, or do you just move on? The difference between being memorable and being forgettable is in these tiny, almost invisible actions that most men overlook entirely. Master them, and you won't just hug a woman, you'll create a memory she wants to relive. Here's the truth most men will never understand. A hug is only the beginning. Desire isn't built in a single moment. It's built in the space after the moment, in the emotional tension, in the anticipation you create without words. Most men ruin attraction by trying to rush it, by over-explaining, by turning a magnetic moment into ordinary interaction. But if you know the psychology, you can make her want you more while appearing effortless, calm, and confident. The first key is emotional echo. After a hug, most men forget the energy they've just created, but she hasn't forgotten. Her body still remembers the microsignals, the alignment, the pressure, the eye connection, the warmth. That echo is fertile ground for anticipation. If you stay mindful, maintain subtle presence, and resist the urge to talk too much or break the tension, you allow that emotional residue to grow in her mind. Women experience emotions physically before they think about them. That lingering feeling, that's your leverage. Second is strategic emotional disclosure. This isn't oversharing or being vulnerable for vulnerability's sake. It's about letting her glimpse layers of your personality that feel intimate yet safe. After a hug, a simple, carefully chosen statement, something like, "I feel calm around you," or "I've been looking forward to this all day," does two things. It reinforces your presence, and it subtly elevates your value in her mind. Emotional intimacy builds desire faster than physical touch alone. The hug created a spark. Your words fan it into a slow-burning fire. Third, you use anticipation through subtle cues. The secret is not overwhelming her with attention. It's tiny, almost invisible hints that make her wonder, anticipate, and replay your presence mentally. A lingering gaze across a room, a light touch on her arm before pulling away, a casual smile when she doesn't expect it. These micro moments create a psychological breadcrumb trail. She's thinking, what is he feeling? What does he want? How does he see me? That curiosity, that's desire. Desire loves anticipation. Fourth, there's contrast in attention. Most men give too much too soon. Desire thrives on balance, the tension between engagement and restraint. After a hug, maintain calm confidence. Give her space and let her process the moment. Don't overwhelm with words, gestures, or constant validation. Your silence, paired with subtle signals of interest, makes your presence magnetic. Women feel pulled toward men who provide security, intrigue, and emotional control in measured doses. Fifth, you anchor positive emotions to your presence. Think about how she felt in the hug, the warmth, the subtle spark, the sense of being noticed and valued. In the minutes afterward, mirror those positive emotions in small ways. A calm laugh, an approving nod, a light, playful tease. Anchoring these feelings ensures that your presence is associated with pleasure, curiosity, and attraction. That memory doesn't fade. It compounds, growing stronger every time she recalls it. Sixth, understand micro-timing in escalation. Desire is a rhythm, a sequence of subtle interactions, not a monologue or a rushed confession. Each moment after the hug, the look in your eyes, the pace of your steps, the light touch of your hand should reinforce the emotional pull. The key is subtlety. Too obvious, and it feels forced. Too absent, and it fizzles. Timing is the silent rhythm of attraction. Master it, and you control the subconscious story she tells herself about you. Finally, you layer confidence with vulnerability. Most men think they have to dominate or be aloof, but the truth is, the strongest pull comes from a balance. You are confident, present, and emotionally stable, yet willing to show glimpses of your genuine self. After a hug, a casual comment that reveals a small truth about your thoughts or feelings, without over-explaining, signals authenticity. Authenticity is magnetic because most men are fake or mechanical. When a woman senses honesty, it deepens emotional intimacy and strengthens desire. Now, here's the subtle genius. All these actions, the emotional echo, strategic disclosure, anticipation cues, contrast in attention, emotional anchoring, timing, and authentic vulnerability work together to create a magnetic loop. She experiences a moment of connection. You amplify it subtly, she thinks about it later, and the tension grows naturally. That's how desire escalates without force, manipulation, or pressure. That's how a hug can become a trigger that makes her want you more over time. Ask yourself this: in your last interaction, did you leave space for anticipation, or did you fill it all with words, movements, or distractions? Desire thrives in spaces you create, not in the noise you make. A hug is just step one. How you handle the moments afterward determines whether she remembers it or forgets it entirely. By now, you've learned alignment, touch, timing, micro-expressions, post-hug follow-ups, and emotional escalation. But there's another level most men never reach: subtle, almost invisible cues that make a woman feel magnetically drawn to you. This is where mastery separates ordinary men from unforgettable men. The first advanced tactic is micro-flirtation through touch. I'm not talking about overt sexual gestures. Those kill subtlety instantly. I mean small, intentional touches. Your thumb brushing hers, a light hand on her lower back as you guide her through a doorway, or a gentle press of your fingertips on her shoulder as you pull away. These micro-touches trigger a dopamine response without her even realizing why. It's chemistry you're orchestrating consciously but invisibly. Every tiny touch creates a story in her mind. Safety, warmth, and attraction combined. Second is strategic proximity. Most men step back immediately after a hug. That's a mistake. Instead, maintain a confident, comfortable presence, slightly angled toward her, shoulders relaxed, body open but not invasive. Women notice spatial dynamics subconsciously. The closer you are, without crowding her, the stronger the attraction becomes. It signals confidence and interest while leaving room for curiosity, which is exactly the tension you want. Too close too soon? Pressure? Too far? Disconnection. Perfect proximity communicates desire without words. Third is subtle mirroring. When she leans in slightly or tilts her head, mirror her micro movements unconsciously. This is not imitation, it's alignment. It sends a message her subconscious understands. I am in sync with you. When combined with a well-timed laugh, smile, or slight nod, mirroring deepens emotional resonance and signals connection. Women feel this alignment before they think about it, and it makes them want more of your presence. Fourth, there's controlled eye contact during and after the hug. Most men underestimate the power of a glance. A soft, intentional look as you release her arms can be far more seductive than words. Even a brief eye lock communicates, "I see you and I'm interested." Don't overdo it. It's subtlety that creates intrigue. The brain remembers micro moments of attention, far more than long conversations. Fifth is playful tension and teasing. Women are wired to respond to men who can hold tension while remaining playful and confident. After a hug, a teasing smile or a light joke about the moment, something that references the hug without being explicit, creates emotional spikes. That tension, paired with laughter or warmth, intensifies desire. She begins to associate you with both safety and thrill, the perfect cocktail for attraction. Sixth is physical framing. Slightly adjust your body orientation, positioning, or angle to frame her presence in a subtle, protective way. This communicates dominance without aggression. It's not about blocking her path, it's about creating a sense of containment and security, which paradoxically amplifies desire. Women feel safe yet intrigued, which is the core tension that makes them want more. Seventh, touch escalation through everyday context. The hug is your anchor, but touch can continue in casual ways. Hand grazes as you pass, guiding gestures, a brush of your hand when pointing something out. These touches are nonverbal invitations, reinforcing attraction incrementally. When layered over time, they create a continuous emotional pull, making her crave your presence and your touch even in mundane moments. Finally, understand the power of restraint. The most seductive interactions are never forced. You don't need to overhug, overtouch, or overspeak. Every micro action, every glance, every tiny cue should feel natural, deliberate, and effortless. Women subconsciously recognize confidence in restraint. A man who can hug her, tease her subtly, maintain presence, and escalate tension without desperation instantly becomes magnetic. Here's the overarching truth. Desire isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in the subtle interplay of touch, presence, timing, micro-flirtation, and emotional resonance. When you combine all these elements intentionally, a single hug transforms into an experience she will remember, replay, and crave. She will think about it long after you've left. That is the silent power of mastery, unseen yet unforgettable. Reflect for a moment. Have your hugs ever left her thinking about you hours later, smiling unconsciously, or feeling that pull you can't explain? That is exactly what these advanced cues create. Most men will never reach this level, but you're learning the psychology they'll never understand. When you combine alignment, microtouch, proximity, mirroring, eye contact, playful tension, framing, and subtle escalation, you don't just hug a woman, you make her want you more every time. Now that you understand the full framework, the alignment, the controlled touch, the breath and pressure cues, the micro expressions, the post-hug follow-ups, emotional escalation, and advanced subtle triggers, you're ready to transform a simple hug into a magnet for desire. But here's the thing most men overlook. Knowledge alone isn't enough. The difference between being ordinary and unforgettable is execution with awareness. Think of a hug like planting a seed. If you do it mindlessly, it may sprout, or it may die unnoticed. But if you combine every element with intention, presence, energy, timing, subtle micro-touch, verbal reinforcement, anticipation, and playful escalation, you're not just planting a seed, you're cultivating an emotional experience she remembers, a memory her subconscious holds on to, a spark that grows into desire. And that desire doesn't fade, it lingers. Here's the invisible truth. Women are wired to respond to men who signal confidence, control, and emotional intelligence in small, subtle ways. Every micro-action, every glance, every calculated pause during or after the hug contributes to her attraction. It's not about being loud, aggressive, or overt. It's about creating an emotional loop she can't escape. The more consistently you deliver it, the stronger that pull becomes. Think about the last time someone left a lasting impression on you, not through words, but through presence. That's the exact principle at work here. Your hug is the opening statement. Your awareness, subtle actions, and follow-ups are the continuation. And if you master this loop, you don't just hug a woman, you become someone she thinks about when she's alone, someone she wants around, someone she subconsciously connects with on a deeper level. Now, let me challenge you. Take what you've learned today and reflect on your own interactions. Are your hugs ordinary, forgettable, and rushed? Or are they intentional, magnetic, and layered with psychological triggers that leave her craving more? The difference is enormous, and it starts with your awareness and intent. Here's the final secret. Desire is invisible. You cannot force it, demand it, or fake it. What you can do is create the conditions through presence, energy, touch, timing, micro cues, and subtle escalation, where desire naturally emerges. Master these elements, and every hug, every interaction becomes an opportunity to deepen attraction, spark curiosity, and make her feel a connection she can't rationally explain. Before you go, I want to leave you with a challenge. Imagine you're about to hug a woman, right now in your mind, perfectly aligned, confident, subtly touching, maintaining eye contact, leaving the right pause, and letting anticipation build. Ask yourself, if desire is the sum of alignment, touch, timing, awareness, and micro-flirtation, what's my score today in each category? Comment your answer below. Be honest with yourself. It's the first step to mastering this. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear this. Every hug you give from here on out is a chance to create an experience she won't forget, and now you know exactly how to do it.